Marquette Devon Burton. And today I'm sharing with you what it's like to do business in China. I'm going to take you on a journey with me and let you see what my experience was as a guest of the Chinese government as they were taking myself as well as other select entrepreneurs from around the world through various cities of China, trying to get us to open an office there with government grants and government support. The reason I'm showing you this is so that you may be inspired. When we first arrived in Shanghai, we arrived at 11:30 p.m. in the local time. We had our first meeting with the government at 12:45 a.m., in which they basically told us that it'd be a fast-paced week there in China. We went to bed, and by 8 a.m. we were on a tour bus going to our first city. They took us on a tour of multiple cities and even showed us models of each city with lights and everything made to reflect the real city. And they said, hey, this particular city is dedicated to pharmaceuticals. This particular city is for self-driving cars. And if you have an interest, we are happy to provide you with office space, living space, and a grant to start your company here in China. So what they're essentially trying to do is get us to open up an office, and each city is pitching us to do it in their city and showing us all of the amenities. It was actually quite exciting for them to say, hey, look at this model. We're right here in this building. If you like, we can put an office and an apartment in the same building for you. It'll have a gym.
The reports of the 19th.
While respecting the privacy of the consumer.
而且这个就是最重要的一点呢，就是能够完全保证。
Was not having meetings to have meetings.
Meetings with my family or business meetings?
Both. But mostly.
One of the things I found very fascinating, being that we're in a communist country, communism based on equality, is that you notice a very strict hierarchy. We were definitely treated like VIPs in every way, which was quite nice. Undoubtedly, China is a very hierarchical society, and you'll notice that if you're the VIP of the VIPs, you will feel your power and position being respected greatly. They will treat you very well, and they don't, as in the West, pretend everyone's equal. It's very clear who the boss is when you're in China. You'll even notice that the government there had a videographer and photographer following around the executives the whole time. And you'll notice they give particular camera attention more so to those executives whom they thought had better businesses and a better chance at being successful in the Chinese market.
Our last dinner in Hangzhou, and we're about to have a hot pot.
This is just a train, not an airport. It's an enormous train station, hyper modern, high-speed train. We're about to take to Shanghai. If you're saying America's the best, we got a lot of work to do, folks. I mean, sparkling clean. Look at this. What is this? What is this? Exactly. Luxury relaxation accommodations. And they see what those are like couches and naps in there. The fascinating thing about the Chinese way of doing business is that everything involves the government. So it's the government that was actually taking us around, and it's also the government that was making the investments and making the grants for us to do business. Just imagine the station in Shanghai. This is in Hangzhou, a city most of us haven't heard of. Not only were they selling us on China as a country and China as a business destination, but also China and its various cities as places that we would want to live. So they were taking us around, showing us the best, most exclusive restaurants, taking us to all the attractions and sites.
来自美国的 Flash 团队，让我们有请团队 CEO Mark Brown 先生上台分享。First, Flash from US, Mr. Mark Brown, CEO of the team. The floor is yours.
appreciate it.
Throughout the whole of our tour, each individual executive was provided a private tour guide who was obviously bilingual and would be able to translate and answer all of your questions, not only about the sites that you were seeing, but also about the economy, the government, the way of doing business, the culture. So it was very much so a remarkable experience. When you meet older folks in government, generally they don't speak English. English was not as widely spread as I would expect, but if you're trying to read signs, almost every major sign you'd look at had the Mandarin as well as the English. They're definitely building around the idea of having an international country with a significant number of expats there doing business and helping grow their economy and their major global plan of the Belt and Road Initiative.
In Haiti, they have a saying, I think it's something like, La Constitution c'est papier, la bayonet c'est fer, which is to say a constitution is paper, a bayonet is steel, which is if you have written laws and regulations, but they cannot be enforced, then people will break the laws.
When you're there in a small group of 5 executives from around the world and the Chinese government is hosting you, having you followed around essentially by the Chinese paparazzi, you definitely feel like a celebrity. It's a very fun, enjoyable experience that is definitely unforgettable. And the reason that they're doing that is to market domestically to the government and say, hey, we're bringing in great people for you to invest in, but also to market to the citizens and let them know, hey, we're making this an international hub for business, and also to market to the outside world saying, hey, if you do business, if you have a high growth, high tech company, come here. We have funding for you. We have infrastructure support on the hardware, software, and intellectual capital side. This is the place to be. They're definitely preparing to be the world leader in tech and business. What I can say is that China is a remarkably clean and modern country, and all of the cities, sites, and attractions we saw were fabulously well maintained. A country in growth with cranes all over the place. Somewhere you absolutely must go to do business.
The experience here with Talvation has been really VIP from the moment that we landed, and it's taught us a lot about China as a country and also as a great place to do business. For example, we never knew that there were entire cities being developed that are dedicated to science, places where there are hubs for people who want to do business in pharmaceuticals. And for us in particular, it's excellent because we already have suppliers in Shenzhen, so it provides us a great network in China to diversify our suppliers, connect with scientists, engineers who can do the research and development needed for us to develop world-class products.
My people, thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope that you feel inspired and think about your own business and how you might grow it in your local market as well as internationally. And please do let me know in the comments what you think of these kinds of videos, because I want to know if they bring value to you. I've already been there. I had the experiences myself. I'm really doing this so that it might inspire you to build a bigger business, have a greater dream. Marquette Devon Burton signing off.